Brother Amr is saying that he will be going for Umrah soon. And because of his circumstances, he might have to be in quarantine for a few days. He does not know, 3 days or more. So he is saying, rather than wear the Ihram from the airplane or when he lands in Jeddah and then stay in quarantine in Ihram for so many days, he is asking, can he enter Makkah without Ihram and stay in quarantine in regular clothes? Then when the quarantine is lifted because of COVID, when the quarantine is lifted, he would like to then leave the city in a taxi, go to the closest miqat, wear the ihram from there, and then come back in and re-enter to do Umrah.
وما أرسلنا من قبلك إلا رجالا نوحي إليهم فاسألوا أهل الذكر إن كنتم لا تعلمون.
Now, to respond again very briefly, firstly find out, are you sure you have to be in quarantine? From what I'm aware, and I'm speaking, today is October 19th, that the quarantine has been lifted as far as I'm aware. So find out, maybe you asked the question and you're not aware of this, so find out. The second point, maybe if you do have to have quarantine in your particular case, okay, that's understandable. But let me make the question broader than just quarantine and COVID. Let me make it relevant so that inshallah, bi'idhnillah, when COVID is completely gone and wiped out, still what I'm about to say will be relevant. What if for whatever reason you have to go to Mecca for some reason other than Umrah? Can you enter the city of Mecca without Ihram because you're going for another reason? So suppose you are an engineer and the government has invited you to look at some catastrophe or some major issue, you have to come and look at it. Or you're a doctor with your speciality and the Ministry of Health has said, we need you to do an operation, please come immediately to Mecca. So your goal for going there is to do whatever your task or job is. The response to this is that in fact it is not obligatory to enter Mecca in the state of Ihram if you're not doing Umrah. Why would you enter Ihram if you're not doing Umrah? It is halal to go to Mecca for other reasons. Now I know some of my audience is shocked. How could anybody go to Mecca without doing Umrah? And I say, my dear brother, my dear sister, you are thinking as if you are from in America or India or Africa. The only reason for you to go to Mecca would be for Umrah. Okay, how about farmers that are close by and they have to deliver the produce? Okay, how about doctors whose specialities they are not found in Mecca, they are in Ta'if, they are in Jeddah, and they have to come in for surgeries once a week, right? You have to realize Mecca is a city with 500,000 people and there is commerce and trade and people going in and out like every city. So realize the city of Mecca needs its infrastructure and the Sharia takes all of this into account. Therefore, if you have to enter Mecca for any reason without doing Umrah, you are permitted to do so. It is completely permissible to do so. And in that case, obviously, you will not be in the state of Ihram. Now, in your particular case, you actually do want to do Umrah, but not on this trip. You are getting rid of the quarantine in your particular case. So in your case, if you do as you have described, and that is you enter Mecca with the niyyah of remaining in quarantine, because you have to do that if you have to, I'm not sure, but you're saying you have to, then go with that intention, no problem. When the quarantine is lifted for you, you may go to the closest miqat, which is 2-3 hours away, because this is not the miqat of Aisha, the miqat of Dhul Hulayfa. That is only for the one who has already done Umrah and is now, there's two miqats. There's the miqat of the people of Mecca or the people temporarily residing in Mecca after Umrah. And then there is the miqat of the one who has not done Umrah, and that is larger. And so you are going to have to go to the miqat of the one who has not done Umrah, and that is of course farther away. And so you will take a taxi, go there, and then re-enter Ihram and come back. That is completely permissible. There is no penalty upon you and there is no sin upon you, because your initial goal for entering Mecca was not Umrah in that journey. It was for another reason. And the same goes if you're an engineer, if you're a doctor, if you're a businessman, if you have a sick relative, you have to go and visit them on their deathbed or whatever, you have to go to Mecca, and for whatever reason you're not doing Umrah, then no problem, you do not enter in the state of Ihram. However, I can give you an easier alternative, and that is that a lot of people don't understand the reality of Ihram. Ihram is two different things. The more important one is the niyyah and the declaration, and that is to say, labbaik Allahumma umrah or labbaik Allahumma hajj, and that is done at the miqat. Then the other thing is to wear the garment of Ihram. The two are not the same, because the penalty for not entering Ihram verbally, for not declaring the Ihram and the Hajj and Umrah, is much greater, and that is the penalty of an entire animal, so a sheep or a goat. Whereas the penalty for not wearing the right clothes, the penalty for declaring Ihram and then not wearing Ihram, because there's the declaration, which is the most important, and then there's the wearing, which is lesser in its degree of importance. The penalty for not wearing the Ihram is to feed 10 poor people, and that is significantly much less than the penalty for giving an entire animal in sacrifice. So the Sharia allows, if there is what is called a hajja. A hajja is not as high as a darura, life and death, nor is it something that is frivolous. It is something that is genuinely not easy, but it's not the end of the world. So it's in between. And hajja varies from person to person. So let me give you an example. Suppose a doctor is called to Makkah to perform surgery, and he says, you know what, I want to also do Umrah. But I'm a doctor, I have to be wearing my clothes and wear my special garment and put everything on. So he declares the Ihram when he enters the miqat, and he says, labbaik Allahumma umrah. And he declares, but he's wearing the doctor garments, and he goes to the operation theater, and he's wearing whatever needs to be worn, because you're not gonna practice medicine without the mask, without everything. So he wears what needs to be worn. Then when he's done, he may enter into Ihram and give the penalty for not wearing the right clothes, which is feeding 10 people, which is something that would be jaiz for him, and this is what is called a hajja. So if you believe, and that's up between you and Allah, if you believe that you really cannot remain in Ihram for 3, 4, 5 days in this manner, and it is going to be a type of hardship that will make life not unbearable, that's darura, it will make life difficult to the point of this being a concession that is allowed for you, then you enter Ihram verbally, you wear your regular clothes, then when you are done, you will change into Ihram, the state, meaning the garment, and then you will feed 10 people, and so that will save you the taxi, and it will save you the fidya. Wallahu ta'ala a'lam. Once again, only if there's a hajja, and if you feel that it's not, then you should stick with your opinion, which is to go in and out. And by the way, even that having been said, is it really that difficult to remain in an air-conditioned room, wearing your Ihram garments? Is it really that difficult? You may change your Ihram garments as well, by the way. You don't have to wear the exact same garment. But in any case, I have given you a number of options. Wallahu ta'ala a'lam.
يا من أجبت دعاء نوح فانتصر وحملته في فلكك المشحون يا من أحال النار حول خليله روحا وريحانا بقولك كن